In the golden age of Hollywood, he was the quiet man who spoke volumes without saying a word. His face launched 1,000 film noir dreams, but his real life was a thriller of addiction, resilience, and a comeback few saw coming. Uncover the man behind the mystery.
2 shoots open. 3. Come on, the rest of you guys.
Fred.
Come on, get out!
Fred, wake up.
Gadowski!
Wake up.
Gadowski!
Wake up.
She's burning up! Get out!
Fred.
Get out!
Fred, wake up. Wake up.
She's burning up! She's gonna hit! Look out!
It's all right, Fred. Go back to sleep. Go back to sleep. Back to sleep, Fred.
For stories that uncover the shadows behind classic Hollywood legends, subscribe to Sajjad Classic. From the cotton fields of Covington County, Mississippi on a cold New Year's Day in 1909, carver DanaAndrews came into the world as the third of 13 children in a deeply religious household led by his father, a Baptist minister, and his mother, Annis. Growing up among so many siblings in a modest, hard-working family, Dana learned early the rhythms of discipline and responsibility, lessons that would later echo quietly in his performances. Life in the South wasn't easy, and Andrews' childhood held the kind of earthy simplicity that stood in stark contrast to the polished make-believe of Hollywood. He was raised far from the glamour of movie studios, his world shaped by community, faith, and the pressures common to large families. As he got older, those pressures pushed him toward education, and he went on to study business administration at Sam Houston State Teachers College in Huntsville, Texas. A practical choice rather than a glamorous one, and one that reflected his early sensibilities more than dreams of stardom. But the world was changing, and by 1931 the Great Depression had tightened its grip on America. Like many young men of his generation, Andrews found himself facing a stark choice: cling to stability or take a leap into uncertainty. Tossing caution to the wind, he quit his job with an oil company and used every dollar he had to travel west, hitchhiking all the way to Los Angeles, hoping to find a place for himself in show business. What he found was far harder than silver screens and spotlight parties. Hollywood didn't welcome him instantly. Instead, Andrews hustled for survival, pumping gas at a station in Van Nuys, driving trucks, digging ditches, picking oranges, and even working in a department store stockroom just to stay afloat while he chased his dream. Everywhere he went, the message was the same. Studios weren't interested, and training opportunities were hard to come by. He was turned down not only by film studios, but even by the Pasadena Playhouse, the most prestigious acting school in California at the time. Yet even in Rejection, Andrews refused to fold. He borrowed money for opera lessons, dreaming of launching his career through his voice, another sign of his unwavering determination. It was during one of these efforts that a teacher noticed something else in him, something raw and compelling beyond just voice or looks. And eventually he did get accepted into the Pasadena Playhouse, beginning with background roles in Shakespearean productions and slowly learning the craft that would one day define him. But the emotional trials of this period weren't only about survival. They were also about identity. Opening up financially and creatively to pursue art exposed him to doubt and inner conflict. He was starting from zero at an age when many actors already had careers, and each rejection threatened his self-worth. The struggle wasn't just external, it was internal. A quiet battle for belief in himself that ran parallel to his physical journey across the country. Those early years of struggle, from farm life to Hollywood hardships, grounded DanaAndrews in a way few stars ever truly are. He arrived in Tinseltown with nothing but willpower, grit, and an unshakable belief that his voice and presence deserved to be heard. That inner fire, formed in the heat of struggle, would later lend him a gravitas few of his contemporaries could match. Hollywood didn't change overnight for DanaAndrews. Even after years of rejection and poverty, Success did not arrive with a sudden miracle. Instead, it crept in quietly, almost cautiously. Small roles began to appear, brief appearances where he was noticed but not yet remembered. He played soldiers, pilots, background authority figures, men who looked dependable, serious, and slightly worn by life. He wasn't the kind of actor studios rushed to promote, but he was the kind they kept calling back. Hollywood in 1938 was a factory of dreams, but for a newly signed contract player named DanaAndrews, the dream felt more like a waiting room. Discovered on stage by the legendary perfectionist producer Samuel Goldwyn, Andrews entered the system with one directive: learn. Goldwyn saw potential in the young man's quiet intensity and leading man looks, but he didn't see a finished product. So Andrews was put to work in the background, serving a long and deliberate apprenticeship. His early roles were fragments of characters, glimpses in major pictures. In 1940's The Westerner, a classic directed by the great William Wyler, Andrews had a small part opposite the monolithic Gary Cooper.
You're hard out for farm work, miss, not a civil war. This ain't no fit place to homestead in.
Land's no good when there's always lead flying over it.
If you'd shoot back, maybe they'd stop bothering you.
We did shoot back.
And so did Shad Wilkins, and he ain't trying it no more.
What about your own quarter section? If you leave, you'll lose it.
We don't want no part of it.
All right, Hard. If you feel that way, we'll try to get along with just Eve and Henry.
Not me.
He was a face in the crowd, learning to hold the screen beside a titan. The next year, in Howard Hawks' brilliant screwball comedy Ball of Fire, he was given a more defined but still secondary role: Joe Lilac, a slick, menacing gangster. It was a chance to show a darker edge, to prove he could be more than just the handsome friend. He was loaned out to other studios for supporting roles in films like Tobacco Road and Belle Starr, each part a brick in the foundation of his craft. He was reliable, professional, and utterly in the shadow of bigger stars. The Hollywood columnists of the era would have called him promising, a word that often meant still waiting. The waiting stretched into the early 1940s. He finally landed his first leading role, but it was in the B-picture Berlin Correspondent, 1942. A modest wartime thriller. It was a step forward, yet still not the breakthrough. A bigger opportunity came with 1943's Crash Dive, where he played second lead to the megawatt star Tyrone Power. It was a major Technicolor production, but Andrews was, once again, the solid, sturdy counterpart to the established idol. Then came the script that changed everything. It wasn't a glamorous star vehicle. It was a grim, black-and-white parable called The Oxbow Incident. Director William A. Wellman was crafting a harsh, unflinching anti-Western about mob violence, injustice, and the collapse of civilization.
A hanging? What have we done? Aren't you even going to tell us what we're accused of?
And to meet your Savior, don't you get weary. Trying to meet your Savior.
Too bad, but it's justice.
Justice? What do you care about justice? You don't even care whether you've got the right men or not. All you know is you've lost something and somebody's got to be punished. I tell you, there's nobody to look out for them. They're in a strange place. Can't you understand that, you butcher?
The pivotal role was Donald Martin, a gentle rancher wrongly accused of murder and cattle rustling, who finds himself facing the cold, irrational fury of a lynch mob. This was the moment Andrews's years of apprenticeship paid off. Gone was the gangster sneer or the stoic sidekick. As Donald Martin, Andrews had to portray a decent man confronting pure terror and ultimate injustice. His performance was a masterclass in restrained agony. He communicated Martin's fear, his desperation to reason with the unreasoning mob, and his final heartbreaking dignity through a profound stillness and soulful depth in his eyes. He didn't overplay. He inhabited the tragedy. When the film was released in 1943, the critical reaction was immediate and definitive. The film itself was hailed as a masterpiece, and Andrews' performance was singled out as its emotional core. Critics, who had previously overlooked him, now wrote lines like heart-wringing and sensitive and gripping. For the first time, they weren't writing about a promising supporting player. They were writing about a serious, powerful, dramatic actor. The Oxbow incident was the detonator. The critical notice it generated was the direct currency of respect in Hollywood. It proved DanaAndrews had the gravity and depth to carry a major film's moral weight. That newfound credibility made producers see him not as a utility player, but as a potential star. The critical acclaim for the Oxbow incident in 1943 didn't just earn DanaAndrews respectful nods from reviewers. It lit a fuse under his career. Hollywood, ever hungry for fresh faces who could carry emotional weight without grandstanding, suddenly saw him as more than reliable support. The studios, particularly 20th Century Fox, where his contract had roots through Goldwyn, began pushing him into bigger, more varied parts. The war was raging on screens and off, and Andrews' quiet intensity, that mix of stoic resolve and hidden vulnerability, made him perfect for the era's patriotic dramas and moral tales. Right after Oxbow, he jumped into wartime propaganda territory. In Louis Milestone's The North Star, 1943, he played Kolya Simonov, a young Ukrainian fighter defending his village against the Nazi invasion.
I'll get ready for it. This is going to be for my father, and for me, and for my village, and for people I've never seen. The big words. I guess I'll have to stand by them now. I'm coming down, and it's going to hurt you. And I'm coming down just where I want to, because I was a good bombardier and a good pilot, too.
A role that let him flex his dramatic chops alongside heavyweights like Walter Houston and Ann Baxter. Then came December 7th, 1943, a semi-documentary short dramatizing Pearl Harbor's aftermath, where Andrews appeared as the ghostly voice of a fallen sailor, adding a haunting layer to the film's call for vigilance. By early 1944, the momentum was undeniable. Andrews landed a supporting but pivotal role in Up in Arms, 1944.
Will you write to me?
Danny will be writing to you every day. He'll keep you posted about me.
How about you keeping me posted about Danny?
I don't want to do anything to hurt him, Mary. And you know how he feels about you. Just seems kind of a bad time to knock the pins out from under him, don't you think?
Danny Kaye's splashy Technicolor musical comedy debut for Samuel Goldwyn. Playing a straight-arrow Army buddy to Kaye's neurotic hypochondriac, Andrews provided the grounded contrast that let the comedian shine, proving he could handle lighter fare without losing his edge. Around the same time, he appeared in The Purple Heart, 1944.
Your figures sound mighty impressive. And from all I've heard of your soldiers, they fight like cornered rats. No offense, General. But I still can't answer your questions. Even if I trusted you, General, I still wouldn't tell you. And I don't trust you.
Another milestone-directed wartime drama as Captain Harvey Ross, one of 8 captured American airmen facing a Japanese tribunal. The film was raw and unflinching, and Andrews' portrayal of quiet defiance under torture deepened his reputation as an actor who could convey inner torment with restraint. He followed it swiftly with Wing and a Prayer, 1944.
Then shut up. Wait a minute, you two. Take it easy. What is this?
Sorry, sir. I guess we're all a little jumpy.
All right, just relax. As for you, Scott, there are no stars out here. This isn't Hollywood. When the time comes for you to take the bows, we'll turn on the spotlights.
In the meantime, you're just a part of a team and you'll play as the team plays. Is that understood?
A tense naval aviation thriller set aboard an aircraft carrier on a decoy mission leading to Midway. As Lieutenant Commander Edward Moulton, Andrews shared the screen with Donna Meche and delivered a performance of steely command amid the chaos of carrier operations. Another solid wartime credit that kept his name circulating among producers. Yet amid this steady stream of honorable, often heroic, supporting or co-starring roles, the real lightning struck with Laura.
Yeah, just one. 2 years ago, in your October 17th column, you started out to write a book review. But at the bottom of the column, you switched over to the Harrington murder case.
Are the processes of the creative mind now under the jurisdiction of the police?
You said Harrington was rubbed out with a shotgun loaded with buckshot. The way Laura Hunt was murdered night before last.
Did I?
Yeah. But he was really killed with a sash weight.
The project, a stylish murder mystery adapted from Vera Casperi's novel Ring Twice for Laura, had a bumpy road to production. Originally directed by Ruben Mamoulian, it was taken over by Otto Preminger after studio head Darrell F. Zanuck intervened. Andrews wasn't the first choice. Zanuck had his eye on John Hodiak, but fate and a bit of charm intervened. While shooting The Purple Heart, Andrews got a tip from director Louis Milestone that the script for Laura was gold, predicting the lead role would catapult him to stardom. Andrews read it, loved it, and went after it aggressively. He bumped into Preminger at a party only to hear Zanuck still favored Hodiak. Undeterred, Andrews kept pushing. During filming on Wing and a Prayer, he had a chance encounter with Zanuck's wife at the studio. They talked at length. By Monday, Preminger was on the phone. "Dana, I don't know what happened, but Zanuck says you have the part." And so, in the spring of 1944, Andrews stepped into the shoes of Detective Lieutenant Mark McPherson, a hard-boiled cop assigned to investigate the brutal murder of beautiful advertising executive Laura Hunt, Jean Tierney. As he pores over her portrait, questions her friends, the acid-tongued Waldo Ledecker, played by Clifton Webb, the slippery Shelby Carpenter by Vincent Price, and pieces together her life, McPherson finds himself inexplicably falling for a dead woman. The role was a masterstroke, brooding, obsessive, quietly romantic. Andrews' understated style, those long contemplative silences, the way his eyes betrayed long even as his jaw stayed set, made McPherson feel real, haunted, human. Opposite Tierney's luminous ghost and the razor-sharp supporting cast, he held the center of Otto Preminger's sleek, psychologically twisted noir masterpiece. When Laura hit theaters in October 1944, it was an instant sensation. Critics raved about its sophistication, its twists, and especially Andrews' magnetic performance. Overnight, the patient journeyman who'd ground his way through bit parts and strong supports became a leading man. The film not only boosted his star power, but cemented his place in film noir history. From the dusty injustice of Oxbow to the shadowy obsession of Laura, Andrews had bridged the gap. No longer just surviving in the frame, he now commanded it. The best was yet to come. State Fair, 1945. DanaAndrews portrayed Pat Gilbert, a jaded big city reporter assigned to cover the Iowa State Fair, where he unexpectedly finds romance with the wholesome farm girl Margie Frake, Jean Crane.
Well, I don't know what the family's plans are for tonight. I don't know where I'll be.
I'll find her.
How?
I'm a newspaper man. It's my job to find the right people at the right time. You'll be seeing me. So long.
So long.
His character brings a touch of urban skepticism to the rural setting, evolving from cynicism to genuine affection amid the film's musical sequences and fairground antics. As a Rodgers and Hammerstein musical remake, the film was a major box office success, offering escapist entertainment during wartime. Critics like Bosley Crowther of the New York Times praised its light-hearted charm, though Andrews' role was seen as competently charismatic rather than groundbreaking. Fallen Angel, 1945.
Now, you remember that watch? The one with the 3 diamonds that belonged to Stella. Ever found out who bought it for her?
Perhaps.
You know, you made your fatal mistake, Judd, when you had June arrested up in San Francisco. Well, you scared me at first, all right. But then I stopped, and I began to think. And I kept right on thinking about that watch. And I started a little routine investigation of my own. The result is the Walton police will get a wire from San Francisco. They'll know who bought that watch by tomorrow morning, unless you'll admit it tonight. Shall we go? Oh, I came in a police car. They're waiting outside. I thought it would be more convenient.
In this Otto Preminger-directed film, Noir, Andrews played Eric Stanton, a slick drifter and con artist who strands himself in a small California coastal town. Desperate for money, he woos the wealthy, trusting Clara Mills, Alice Faye, while lusting after the sultry waitress Stella, Linda Darnell, leading to a web of deception, murder, and moral downfall. Stanton's character is a classic noir anti-hero, charming yet ruthless, driven by greed and impulse. Reviews were mixed. Variety noted the film's atmospheric tension but criticized plot inconsistencies, while Bosley Crowther in the New York Times highlighted Andrews' shady and crooked portrayal as convincingly unlikable, adding depth to the pulpy narrative. Roger Ebert's retrospective praised Andrews' performance for its romantic pathology in forging tainted relationships. Interesting trivia: the film was intended as a vehicle for Alice Faye, but much of her footage was cut to emphasize Darnell, leading Faye to retire from acting in frustration. A Walk in the Sun, 1945.
Come back, Big William! In a minute, sir! Hurry back, hurry! Come back!
Andrews starred as Sergeant Bill Tyne, a steady, pragmatic platoon sergeant leading a group of American infantrymen through the Italian countryside during World War II. His role emphasizes quiet leadership amid the tedium, banter, and sudden violence of war, capturing the soldier's isolation and camaraderie without glorifying combat. Directed by Louis Milestone, the film focuses on character studies rather than action, with Tyne serving as the emotional anchor. Critics appreciated its realism. Variety lauded Andrews' invariably forthright performance as grounding the ensemble, while Bosley Crowther of the New York Times called it a sincere film about the war, praising the earthy dialogue and anti-heroic tone. Canyon Passage, 1946. Andrews played Logan Stewart, a rugged frontier entrepreneur running a pack train business in 1850s Oregon.
Now we can close in, Bragg.
You think I won't? Now I get you!
Over here, Bragg. Over here. Time to put out the lights, Bragg.
Dealing with romantic rivalries, gold rushes, and conflicts with Native Americans in this Technicolor Western. His character embodies the heroic pioneer spirit, balancing ambition with loyalty. Directed by Jacques Tourneur, the film was praised for its scenic visuals. Critics like those in Variety noted Andrews' solid presence, though it wasn't a critical darling. The Best Years of Our Lives, 1946.
Yeah, I had this picture pasted on the plexiglass over my bomb sight. You took a lot of trips over Germany, baby.
Oh, that's sweet.
The guys all used to kid me about it. They'd take a look at the picture and then ask her, who is the dame? And when I told them it was my wife, they'd say, go on. Nobody's got a wife looks like that. That's a telephone number.
One of Andrews' most iconic roles was Captain Fred Derry, a decorated Air Force bombardier returning from World War II to face marital strife, joblessness, and emotional turmoil in civilian life. Derry's arc explores vulnerability, lost status, from war hero to soda jerk, and forbidden romance, reflecting broader veteran reintegration issues. Directed by William Wyler, the film was a critical and commercial triumph. Bosley Crowther of the New York Times hailed Andrews' performance as incisive and grueling, capturing quiet desperation authentically. Roger Ebert praised its strength in portraying homefront casualties, with Andrews anchoring the drama. Variety called it one of the best pictures ever, noting the ensemble's excellence. No individual nominations for Andrews, but the film won 7 Oscars. Interesting trivia. Andrews drew from his own pilot experiences, enhancing the role's authenticity. Boomerang, 1947. Andrews portrayed Henry L. Harvey, a principled state's attorney in a docudrama based on a true Connecticut murder case.
Miss Nelson, did you know that rewards for information leading to the arrest and conviction of the murderer total $8,000?
I did not.
Your application for the reward is already on file. Miss Nelson, before you answer me, please remember that not only is a man's life in jeopardy, but that you might be sent to prison for perjury. Now, was it Waldron you saw through that window? Was this the man?
Well, I'm not absolutely sure.
Thank you, Miss Nelson. That's all.
Fighting political pressure to prove an accused man's innocence despite circumstantial evidence. His character showcases integrity amid corruption, with intense courtroom scenes highlighting moral conflict. Directed by Elia Kazan, critics like Bosley Crowther of the New York Times commended Andrews' sensitive job as the steadfast prosecutor, praising the film's realistic style and social commentary. Daisy Kenyon, 1947.
Daisy, I think I'm humble now. I wasn't before, but I am now. I haven't started to straighten out the mess at home yet. I had to have a look at you first.
Dan, don't...
Just a look. I couldn't go on thinking of you with that expression in your eyes.
Andrews played Dan O'Mara, a married district attorney entangled in a love triangle with independent designer Daisy Kenyon, Joan Crawford, and a war veteran, Henry Fonda. His role delves into infidelity, ambition, and emotional turmoil in this melodrama. Reviews were mixed. Variety noted Andrews' suave performance as a strength amid soapy elements. Deep Waters, 1948.
Because I stole a camera.
I knew that, son.
You did?
Sure.
And you didn't care?
Of course not.
But I done it when you told me never to, Hard.
I know, Donnie. You made a mistake, but you paid for it. We all make mistakes sometimes. The important thing is not to make them again.
Andrews starred as Hod Stillwell, a Maine lobsterman who becomes a mentor to a troubled orphan in this outdoor family drama. The character is a rare, folksy, paternal figure for Andrews, emphasizing redemption through nature and guidance. Critics found it wholesome but forgettable, with little emphasis on his performance. My Foolish Heart, 1949.
Would you care to go back into the dance with me?
I'd love to. Oh, but I can't.
Why not?
Well, my date's inside dancing, and I'm supposed to be outside crying.
Well, geography isn't important. We can dance out here.
Of course we can. There's more room.
Andrews portrayed Walt Dreiser, a flawed yet charming man whose past affair with Eloise Winters, Susan Hayward, unfolds in flashbacks, adapted from J.D. Salinger. His role highlights regret and lost love in a sentimental tale. Reviews criticized the film's mawkishness, but noted Andrews' positive charisma. Where the Sidewalk Ends, 1950. Fighting with Preminger, Andrews played Detective Mark Dixon, a brutal, rule-bending cop haunted by his criminal father's legacy, who accidentally kills a suspect and spirals into cover-ups and guilt. Dixon's complexity, ruthless yet vulnerable, drives this gritty noir. Critics praised its moral ambiguity. Variety lauded Preminger's pacing and Andrews' sympathetic intensity, while Time Out called his weather-beaten performance one of his finest. Roger Ebert's site highlighted Andrews' chiseled face suiting the scarred cop. Trivia. Andrews' real-life alcoholism began affecting his career around this time. Sealed Cargo, 1951.
All of you know what this probably is. A Nazi sub shelling a fisherman. They don't waste torpedoes on a Gloucesterman. So, they're probably men in dories, drifting around somewhere out there. The sub may have cleared out, or it may be just sitting there waiting for something, like us. All of you have a stake in this. So the question is, what do we do? Do we nose around looking for those dories, or do we snake out of here?
Andrews played Pat Bannon, a fishing captain uncovering a Nazi explosives plot on a torpedoed ship during World War II. His heroic, steady role fits the thriller's wartime mold. Reviews saw it as routine. No major praise for Andrews. Interesting trivia. His brother Steve Forrest appeared uncredited and later expressed admiration for working with him. 3 Hours to Kill, 1954.
Carter's been shot!
What's so excitement? What?
It wasn't me, Laurie. I didn't do it.
I didn't shoot him, I tell you. Look, you've got to believe me. I didn't do it.
Andrews portrayed Jim Guthrie, a vengeful man wrongly accused of murder, returning to town with a limited window for revenge in this B-Western. Critics viewed it as solid but straightforward, with Andrews carrying the plot through determination. While the City Sleeps, 1956. While the City Sleeps, 1956, DanaAndrews played Edward Mobley at a time when film noir was becoming darker, more cynical, and more psychologically complex.
Ladies and gentlemen, at approximately 3 a.m. this morning in our city, one human being took the life of another. In our world, acts of violence are not rare. And so my excuse, or I should say my reason, for giving importance to this particular story is my hope that the killer may be listening to me. For I believe that in his progress to the chair, or to the insane asylum, that he has reached a way station where his sick and warped ego demands to be fed with the milk of self-importance. You are the same killer who, last week, bludgeoned to death a girl by the name of Judith Felton. You are the lipstick killer. You're a mama's boy.
The story unfolds inside a powerful media empire thrown into chaos after its founder dies. The new, inexperienced owner turns journalism into a ruthless game. Whoever helps catch the lipstick killer, a serial murderer terrorizing women in New York, wins a major promotion. In this toxic environment, news stops being about truth and becomes about ambition, ego, and survival. Mobley is not just another reporter chasing headlines. He is a television news anchor and respected writer, someone whose biggest weapon is psychology rather than physical action. Instead of simply tracking clues, he tries to think like the killer, putting himself inside the murderer's mind. That makes him dangerous, but also morally uneasy. because the deeper he goes, the more blurred the line becomes between observer and participant. The film even pushes him into ethically questionable territory when he uses his own girlfriend as bait to trap the killer, showing how ambition and desperation can corrupt even intelligent, good men. Fritz Lang deliberately builds a world where almost everyone is compromised. The newsroom is shown as aggressive, exhausting, and predatory, a place where conversations are battles and everyone is calculating their next move. Critics later described the film as a cynical portrait of modern media culture, filled with schemers, opportunists, and morally flexible professionals. In that environment, Andrews Mobley becomes fascinating because he isn't purely heroic or purely corrupt. He is tired, sharp, sarcastic, and ambitious. A man trying to stay ethical in a system designed to reward ruthlessness. The power struggle around him is just as important as the serial killer plot. 3 senior executives compete viciously for control of the company, and Mobley becomes a key piece in their chess game. The killer becomes almost symbolic, representing the darkness already existing inside society and inside the media machine itself. The film suggests that while the murderer stalks the streets, another kind of predation happens inside boardrooms and newsrooms. What makes Andrews effective here is restraint. Instead of playing Mobley as a traditional heroic crime fighter, he plays him as observant, calculating, and emotionally guarded. Reviews highlighted Lang's direction. Variety praised Andrews' nuanced and restrained acting, while Cineast noted his witnessing of a key interrogation as pivotal. Curse of the Demon, 1957. Original title, Night of the Demon. Andrews starred as Dr. John Holden, a skeptical American psychologist debunking the supernatural, only to face a demonic curse from cult leader Julian Carswell, Niall McGuinness. Holden's rationalism crumbles under terror, making for intelligent horror. Directed by Jacques Tourneur, critics lauded its atmosphere. Chicago Reader called it intelligent, delicate, and actually frightening, with Andrews' grounded performance enhancing suspense. Empire magazine praised its punch despite minimal effects. Interesting trivia. The demon's reveal was controversial. Tourneur wanted subtlety, but producers insisted on showing it, clashing creatively. The Fearmakers, 1958, Andrews played Alan Eaton, a traumatized Korean War veteran and PR executive exposing a communist conspiracy in D.C.
There are millions, all right, McGinnis. Millions of people being lied to, taken for suckers. You know, it's a funny thing. They have pure food and drug laws to keep people from buying poison to put in their stomachs. And you're peddling poison to put in their minds. Yes, I can see, all right. I can see what you and your phony front groups are manufacturing. You're manufacturing fear in order to sell your peace at any price campaign. It is not going to be very difficult for the senator to find out just who is paying the bills. I'm beginning to see how big the puppet is growing and who is pulling the strings.
His resolute, tormented character fits Cold War paranoia. Reviews noted its timeliness, with Andrews' performance suiting the anxieties. DanaAndrews transitioned to television in the late 1950s as his film career slowed, appearing in numerous anthology series and guest spots. His most notable TV work includes The Twilight Zone, 1963. He starred in the acclaimed episode No Time Like the Past, playing Paul Driscoll, a man who time travels to alter historical tragedies, including attempts to stop Lincoln's assassination and the sinking of the Lusitania, but fails, leading to a poignant reflection on fate. This remains one of his most remembered TV roles due to the series' enduring popularity. Bright Promise, 1969 to 1971. Andrews played the lead role of Tom Boswell, president of a fictional college, in this NBC daytime soap opera. It was a rare starring series role for him during his later career phase. Ike, The War Years, 1979 TV miniseries. He portrayed General George C. Marshall in this historical drama about Dwight D. Eisenhower, adding gravitas to the supporting part in a well-regarded production. Falcon Crest, 1982 to 1983. In his later years, he appeared in a recurring role as Elliot McKay on this popular primetime soap opera. He also guest starred on high-profile shows like Playhouse 90, including Alas Babylon, General Electric Theater, The Barbara Stanwyck Show, Ben Casey, Ironside, Ellery Queen, and The Love Boat. But these were typically one-off appearances rather than defining work. His TV output was solid, but less iconic than his classic film roles from the 1940s. No major awards or nominations stand out from his television career. Behind the serious eyes and controlled screen presence, DanaAndrews carried a deeply personal life shaped by love, loss, and quiet resilience. While audiences saw a composed and dependable leading man, away from the cameras he faced tragedies and emotional battles that would leave lasting marks on him as a husband, father, and man. His first marriage was to Janet Murray, a fellow aspiring performer he met in California on December 31, 1932. The couple had a son, David, born in 1933, who later became a talented pianist, organist, composer, and radio announcer. Tragedy struck early in their marriage when Janet died suddenly of pneumonia in October 1935 at age 24, leaving Andrews, a 26-year-old widower and single father, chasing an acting dream in Hollywood. Devastated, he briefly considered abandoning his ambitions but persisted, sending David to live with relatives in Texas while he honed his craft at the Pasadena Playhouse. More heartbreak followed when David died prematurely in February 1964 at age 30 from a cerebral hemorrhage, sometimes reported as an intracerebral hemorrhage. Andrews remarried on November 17, 1939, to stage actress Mary Todd, whom he met at the Pasadena Playhouse. Their marriage lasted over 5 decades until his death, producing 3 children: daughter Catherine, born 1942, son Stephen, born 1944, and daughter Susan, born 1948. The family settled in Brentwood, California, where Andrews emphasized poise, self-presentation, and excellence to his children, often singing opera around the house, habits rooted in his own rise from poverty, though his personal demons strained their home life. Andrews' most prominent personal struggle was alcoholism, which he battled for over 30 years, beginning as casual social drinking during Prohibition and escalating amid Hollywood pressures. This addiction darkened his on-screen presence in later roles, contributing to a heaviness in his features and demeanor, and severely impacted his career trajectory. By the late 1940s, as his stardom peaked with films like The Best Years of Our Lives, his drinking led to professional setbacks. Studio head Samuel Goldwyn reportedly warned him to cut back. But Andrews' propensity for liquor resulted in fewer high-profile opportunities after 1950, relegating him to B-movies and television. On a personal level, it led to multiple drunk driving arrests, nearly cost him his life in car accidents twice, and strained his marriage to Mary Todd to the point of temporary separation in the 1960s. His issues were largely tied to this addiction, which he later attributed to the stresses of mid-century American success and the film industry's undercurrents. In the early 1970s, Andrews quit drinking permanently after joining Alcoholics Anonymous and seeking treatment. He became a pioneering advocate, one of the first Hollywood actors to speak publicly about alcoholism. In 1972, he appeared in public service announcements for the National Council on Alcoholism and Drug Dependence, emphasizing that society and media often ignored the disease. He reconciled with Mary Todd, and they remained together. In 1981, he held a news conference linking alcohol to the deaths of friends like Natalie Wood and William Holden, stating they might still be alive without it. Financially secure from real estate investments, Andrews enjoyed a quieter, later life, though he suffered from Alzheimer's disease-related dementia and senility in his final years. Andrews died on December 17, 1992, at age 83 in Los Alamitos Medical Center, from congestive heart failure complicated by pneumonia following weeks of declining health. He was survived by Mary Todd, who passed in 2003 at age 86. His body was cremated and ashes scattered at sea. Andrews' legacy includes not only his film contributions, but his candid advocacy against alcoholism, which helped destigmatize the issue in Hollywood and beyond.